Hi folks. My name is Orion Hopper. Monster Cable is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. I have a very good pair of speakers and a very good amplifier. This amplifier has speaker A and speaker B. We're using just the left channel, so we're feeding the same signal to both speakers. The only difference is that the speaker on the left is hooked up with this cable that I just bought this morning from Radio Shack. I bought that specifically because I wanted to compare it to one of our middle line speaker cables. I think you'll hear a difference between the two cables when I switch back and forth. I've proven that there is a difference in cables. HDMI is the FCC approved connector for digital TV. The picture quality is startling. What you may not know is that the audio portion of HD TV is Dolby Digital. The same kind of surround sound that you get in a surround sound home theater. Unfortunately, a lot of people are not experiencing high definition TV. They may have gone to a store like J&R Music World and bought a beautiful new flat panel TV. And then if they hook it up just the way they had their old TV hooked up, they're getting a new version of plain old analog TV. You need to have high definition sources in order to get high definition pictures. We also need the appropriate cables. With high definition TV, we're talking about data rates on the order of up to 10 gigabits per second. Fortunately, Monster makes a whole range of cables to support all these various data rates and resolutions. If you're hooking up a plain old DVD player, then the Monster standard speed cable is just fine. For a typical cable box, the high-speed cable is just fine. If you have a Blu-ray player and a really fancy TV, however, then you want to go to something like the ultra-high speed. We are constantly battling a lot of misinformation that seems to be most widely disseminated in the blogosphere. And the most common myth is that HDMI is a digital cable. It's just ones and zeros. It doesn't, you either get a picture or you don't. Well, that's wrong, because this is an HDMI cable. This is not quite so good an HDMI cable. I'm about to change gears to another aspect of system performance that Monster stumbled on about 12 years ago, and that's power. Monster didn't invent this. There were other companies that had started doing power conditioning. To make sure that the power coming out of your wall is clean so that your system sounds and looks as good as it possibly can. Lightning is probably the most extreme situation that we need to be concerned with, but there are also other kinds of surges caused by big motors turning on and off and other switching problems as the utilities reconfigure the networks, things like that. One of Monster's patents is on associating a color with a label. They were the first ones to say, oh, well, blue should be CD and yellow should be VCR. What we've done is we've labeled the outlets so that if, for instance, say your brother-in-law wants to borrow your CD player for the weekend. You go in and you unplug your cable box by accident. How long does it take for a cable box to restart itself these days? I put a new one in the house the other day myself, and it took about 20 minutes to be fully up and running. So, you don't want to unplug the wrong thing. Typically, our power centers have 8-foot power cords because the UL says you need 6 feet, but they always forget about the distance from the height of the wall down to the floor. We have flat, low-profile plugs, again, so that you can push furniture back up against the wall. We have spaced outlets so that if you have a transformer, it doesn't, if you plug a transformer in there, it'll block 3. Monster's clean power technology gets rid of this kind of noise. I'm sure we've all been watching TV while somebody was off blow drying their hair or using an electric mixer or something like this, and you see the static on the screen. This is a Monster Power Center, and this is also a very cheap Monster Power Center. It doesn't do any clean power, it just does a little bit of surge. So we're going to consider this to be our wall outlet. I have this little test box that detects noise, and it detects, this box measures noise from things like radiated noise. That's radiated noise. Now what we're really concerned about though is the noise that's coming in on the power lines. So this box has a second mode, and if I plug in a little power cord here and plug this into my simulated wall outlet, I get noise. Now I'm going to calibrate this so that it measures about 100. I'm not going to touch any of the knobs. I'm going to unplug this, and now This is a, I don't know, 5 or 6 year old Monster Power Center. It's just the one I use for these. It's the same basic concept as what we're doing with our newer products. Our newer products look nicer, but the guts are basically the same. If I plug in the Power Center to that same outlet, and then I plug my noise sniffer into, okay, that noise has all but gone away. Now what happens if I happen to have a noisy component in my system? A cheap DVD player, like one of those supermarket DVD players. If I plug a noisy component in, my noise is back. Okay. Notice we have Clean Power Stage 2. Okay. Clean Power Stage 1 cleans up the lines from the utility. Power Stage 2 means we have a second set of filters in our power center, and if I plug my noise source into the other bank of filters, it's like it's not there. So you don't get any noise coming from the system itself polluting other components in the system. Monster teamed up with this recording artist and producer, Dr. Dre, who's a legend in the hip-hop field. Beats by Dr. Dre, we have the over-ear headphones. They were designed to sound like Dr. Dre's recording studio, to give you the same kind of audio performance that you would hear in, you know, $1 million recording studio. They have noise cancellation circuitry built in, so that if you're on an airplane or in a noisy environment, they will eliminate the external noise. We also have the in-ear option. That's the model called the Tour. We also have the Turbine. If you'd like to listen to the Beats, the studios, they're on display over in the Apple Store here. You can take, or also on the main level of the 31 Park Row location.